There are some artists who don't just play music, they leave a mark on the soul of a nation. Charlie Daniels was one of those men. From the Carolina hills to the world's biggest stages, his guitar and fiddle told stories of pride, faith, and American spirit. He sang about hard times and redemption, about standing tall when the world tried to knock you down. Charlie wasn't chasing fame, he was chasing truth, one note at a time. And through every song, every concert, every word he spoke, he reminded us what it meant to believe in something real. This is more than a story of a musician. It's a legacy of a man who played from the heart and never stopped until the day he died. He was born Charles Edward Daniels in Wilmington, North Carolina on October 28, 1936. The only son of William Carlton Daniels, a lumberjack, and his wife, LaRue Hammonds. He was raised in a family that had deep faith in God and valued virtues like honesty and hard work. His musical influences included Pentecostal gospel, local bluegrass bands, rhythm and blues, and country music. In 1953, he, along with some of his friends, formed a bluegrass band named Misty Mountain Boys, and it was around that time he started writing songs. Charlie spent his early days tuning his radio to hear broadcasts from Nashville, Tennessee. Music was his theme throughout his early life. By the time Charlie graduated high school in 1955, he had become skilled in playing the guitar, fiddle, banjo, and the mandolin. He moved to Nashville. He began making a name for himself as a songwriter, session musician, and a producer. In 1964, he co-wrote a song, It Hurts Me, with Joy Byers. It was recorded by Elvis Presley and put on the B-side of Kissin' Cousins. He went on to play on landmark albums such as Bob Dylan's Nashville Skyline, numerous Leonard Cohen albums, and even tried his hand at producing on the Youngbloods' Elephant Mountain and Ride the Wind. Charlie also played on Ringo Starr's second album, Buku of Blues, in 1970. Here's a great photo of the musicians and others involved in the project. Besides Charlie, who's in the back row second from the left, there are many names here I'm sure you'll recognize. See if you can locate any of them in the picture. Harmonica player Charlie McCoy, bluegrass fiddler Jim Buchanan, Neil Young, and steel guitarist Ben Keith, the longtime Elvis Presley drummer DJ Fontana, and the legendary backup singers the Jordanaires. Oh, and another guitarist with a bright future as a recording artist. His name was Jerry Reed. Charlie said that working this session with Ringo was great. He said Ringo came in and was just one of the guys and was just a breeze to work with. And one more quick note about a song on this album. The song, I Wouldn't Have You Any Other Way, the female singing with Ringo is a girl named Jeannie Kendall, who would later on, in 1977, along with her father Royce, would record the Grammy-winning hit song Heaven's Just a Sin Away. But moving on, Charlie decided to put his own band together. It started out in 1972 with Charlie, joined by Barry Barnes on guitar, Mark Fitzgerald on bass, Fred Edwards and Gary Allen on drums, and Taz DiGregorio on the keyboards. They started recording albums for Kama Sutra Records. Now, when you heard the song Trudy on the band's first album, the song was kind of rhythm and blues and funky sounding. Not the way you know the song today, but it was a storyline that really catches your ear. As Charlie was to prove over and over again, he was very good at telling a story in his songs. But as far as the music goes, the first album was okay, but it didn't do well out on the market. Then came Uneasy Rider, another story song, and it seemed to help get the traction Charlie needed for the next big release, the Fire on the Mountain album. This was actually his fifth album and came along at the right time. Released just a month or so after Charlie held his first volunteer jam at the War Memorial Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee, with a live cut of Orange Blossom Special from that volunteer jam on the album. People were starting to sit up and take notice. Charlie's story of the long-haired country boy and how the South was going to do it again sent him off and flying down the road. Charlie Daniels wasn't just a performer. He was a force that brought people together. Back in the 70s and 80s, when Southern rock was finding its identity, Charlie helped unite the whole scene through his legendary volunteer jam concerts in Nashville. What began in 1974 as a simple celebration for his band's album turned into something much bigger. A yearly gathering of friends, heroes, and legends. The Allman Brothers, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Marshall Tucker, and so many more came together on that stage. And not just to play music, but to share in the spirit that made the South proud. Charlie believed that music wasn't about genres and labels. It was about heart, and he carried that same spirit on the road, touring alongside the very bands he inspired. To so many of them, he was more than a fellow musician. He was a brother. Those volunteer jams weren't just concerts. They were celebrations of life, friendship, and the sounds of the South. And through it all, Charlie Daniels was the man at the center, the heartbeat of it all. I think the pinnacle of the Charlie Daniels Band would have to be the song "The Devil Went Down to Georgia," which was on the band's 7th album and Charlie's 10th, released on April 20th, 1979, Million Mile Reflections. The title refers to the band having passed the million-mile mark in its touring. The song Reflections is a tribute to Elvis Presley, Janis Joplin, and Ronnie Van Zant. Charlie dedicated the album to Van Zant, who was killed in the plane crash on October 20th, 1977. Million Mile Reflections became the band's most commercially successful album, being certified triple platinum in the United States and peaking at number 5 on the Billboard Top LP charts. It also reached number 1 on the Top Country Albums chart. The song "The Devil Went Down to Georgia" won a Grammy for Best Country Performance and a Country Music Association Award for Single of the Year. Pretty good for a song that was wrote in a hurry as a last-minute add to the album because Charlie realized they had no fiddle songs on it. In 1983, Charlie donated the fiddle he used to perform and record "The Devil Went Down to Georgia" to the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. "The Devil Went Down to Georgia," "In America," "Still in Saigon," "Saddle Tramps," and the list goes on and on. Charlie's songs were just telling stories. You don't hear it said that much, but I really believe he was as good of a writer and storyteller as he was a musician. And speaking of musicians, Charlie's band had some great ones who worked with him through the years. Now, I'm not going to try and dive into them here in this video, but you can keep an eye out for another video in the very near future highlighting some of these great players who made up the Charlie Daniels Band. By the mid-1990s, Charlie had already conquered the world of country and southern rock. He'd played to packed arenas, sold millions of records, and built a reputation as one of America's great musical storytellers. But behind the stage lights and the fiddles, Charlie's faith had always been at the center of who he was. In 1994, he released "The Door," an album that marked a powerful turn toward gospel and Christian music. It wasn't a marketing move. It was a reflection of his heart. The songs on "The Door" weren't just about religion. They were about redemption, conviction, and the everyday struggles of faith. Charlie once said he never separated the spiritual from the musical. To him, it all came from the same source. Over the next few years, he continued down that path with albums like "Steel Witness" and songs from "The Longleaf Pines," where his fiddle traded fire for grace. The music still had that unmistakable Southern soul, but the message was clear. Charlie Daniels was using his voice to lift others up. For Charlie, gospel music wasn't a new chapter. It was a homecoming. After decades on the road, he was simply playing the songs that spoke to his soul. Charlie also lent his time and talent to numerous other charitable organizations including the Jason Foundation Golf Classic, an organization that targets teen suicide prevention, and the Galilea Children's Home in Liberty, Kentucky, which provides a home for abused and neglected children. Charlie has been the host for the Charlie Daniels Celebrity Golf Classic and Angelus Concert in Hudson, Florida, a benefit for the Angelus, a full-time residential facility and day school program for the severely handicapped. He has been a member of the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital Professional Advisory Board and has been a longtime supporter of the T.J. Martell Foundation and its numerous events aiding cancer research. He has also been the headliner for many years for the Christmas for Kids concert at the Ryman Auditorium, a fundraiser to provide a happy holiday for needy children. In 2014, Charlie Daniels, along with David Corlew, his longtime friend and manager, founded the Journey Home Project, a nonprofit co-founded by Charlie and David to help veterans of the United States Armed Forces. The Charlie Daniels 40th Anniversary Volunteer Jam Concert took place on August 12, 2015, before a sold-out crowd, raising over $300,000 for the Journey Home Project. The list of awards this man and his band has won is just out of sight. He was inducted into the Cheyenne Frontier Days Hall of Fame in 2002, was made a member of the Grand Ole Opry in 2008, elected to the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum in 2009. But I guess in recognition of his unique and indelible influences on the generation of music makers, Daniels was honored as a BMI icon in 2005, and then was elected to the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2016. When he passed away in 2020, he left behind more than music. He left behind a family who shared his strength, his faith, and his love for life. His wife Hazel stood beside him for over half a century, through every mile of the road and every note of the song. And his son, Charlie Daniels Jr., continues to carry his father's legacy forward with the same passion and pride. The Daniels family reminds us that behind every legend is a circle of love and support that makes it all possible. Charlie and his band brought a lot of people together. Is he a legend? A national treasure? Them are pretty big words. But then again, Charlie Daniels was a pretty big man.